There are a handful of pieces in the guitar repertoire that are responsible for loads of people taking up the instrument. And if you're of a certain age and you come from the UK, then you'll know this piece. This piece was used as the theme music for a rather strange little children's television programme called Tales of the Riverbank, which involved live animals, little hamsters and guinea pigs, and this is known as Hammy Hamster, this piece, or Tales of the Riverbank, or I've rechristened it here, The Return of the Hamster. It seemed a fitting way to end this, our very first series of classical guitar studies. This is the 12th film, so I hope you've enjoyed the course. We're going to get straight on and confront the hamster with our first graphic. And here's the opening of the piece, that piece of music which, when I was a kid anyway, everybody wanted to play. It's in 2/4, 2 beats in the bar, and it starts with a little pickup. And 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. G, F, E, those first 2 semiquavers, and the melody is in the upper voice. The melody is actually on the first and third of the semiquavers each time in those groups of 4, and these melody notes are harmonised rather beautifully by the quavers in the bass, and that harmony is an interval of a tenth. So if you look at the bass note, let's count up. So the bass note is a C, put it up an octave, and that takes you to the next C. That's 8 notes, and then count up to 9 and 10, and that takes you to the top E of the melody. And this really adds a tremendous flavour to the piece, don't you think? This is a great tune, and you really want to be able to hear it. So, as usual, I'm going to harp on about playing the melody appaiando. You want the guitar to project, and you want to hear the tune above the voicing of the accompaniment. So I'm going to show you what I mean by appaiando on this particular melody. Of course it's the rest stroke, but if you're looking closely as I'm playing the piece, I start off with appaiando strokes and I continue that on the top string. They're not all appaiando strokes, but most of them are. The only ones that aren't are the ones where you might shut off the string underneath, because an adjacent string can't ring if you're coming down and resting on it. But you want to draw the ear to the action. So once again, just watch carefully and I'll play the melody. You can alternate fingers, you can use the same finger. So you need to develop the skill of playing a stroke with the thumb, a tirando stroke, a free stroke, and an appaiando stroke at the same time. That really makes the guitar into a much more expressive instrument. Let's focus now on the second bar of this phrase. I'd like you to look at the upper voice and the first 5 semiquavers, which are the notes C, G, E, B, D. The D falls down to the B. Now let's look at a very similar phrase which happens immediately afterwards, and once again focus on the second bar. That's the first 5 semiquavers of the bar in the upper voice. C, G, E, C sharp, D. There's a rising interval of a second instead of a falling interval of a third. I have a theory about this piece, the reason it's so popular, apart from the fact that it was aired every single week on national television. That had something to do with it. But if you listen to this little tiny bit that you've just seen, playing from the top, here it comes, this bit. Now the first time that Giuliani plays us the tune, he plays that. But the second time, I'll fast forward. The second time he goes. And I think the contrast between and is completely beautiful, and it really hooks you into the piece. Here Giuliani takes us into the relative minor, the key of A minor, something which is confirmed by the G sharp in the last bar of the top line. Even though the original key of C is so closely linked to A minor, the change of colour in this section is still a delight, and certainly my ears always look forward to Giuliani playing the same tricks on us, but in a much more minory sort of a way. In this second section of the piece, the music is such a delight that really you can let it get on with the job itself. Let the piece play itself. Keep the rhythm steady, keep the tempo flowing, and just enjoy those notes. So I'm trying to make it sound as straightforward and simple as possible, but there is detail in there that your ear can pick out. Those lovely, it's like two French horns in the distance. That's lovely. So the way I bring that out is to play a staccato with my thumb. And the grace note here, with a grace note like that, which is a legato, try and match the sound of the slur or the legato with the plucking of the right hand. So you need a very definite plucking action there. So don't let that go unnoticed. Just keep it simple. In the next section, Giuliani very abruptly returns to the key of C. We've been in A minor for a while, but he just drags us straight back in with the dominant seventh, just a G7 chord. Watch my fourth finger. It's really nice to use your fourth finger on the third fret sometimes, but make sure you keep your left hand in first position so your fourth finger comes in as an intruder. Let's cover those points again. Back into C. There's the fourth finger there. And then it's kind of living on that third fret down there on the bottom string. Well, there are so many other pieces by Saw and Giuliani that we could look at, but that's another story.
I've really enjoyed making these films for you. Mind you, I have spent the last 51 years living in a shoebox with a guinea pig. And it wasn't just the boring conversation and the flatulence, it was the constant squeaking. It kept me awake all night and really changed my outlook. Oh, I suppose at least now it's nice to be back amongst some of the larger mammals. Well, I hope to see you again soon sometime. And don't forget, spread the word about the Richard Durrant Academy. And none of the music is available in tab.
Well said, that hamster. We all know the shortcomings of tab. It's incomplete and it's inaccurate. Unlike written notation, which you can see and hear playing out in front of you now. Linking your ears and your fingers to the beauty and simplicity of these graphics is a big step for any musician. So, right now, try to look and listen and make that link. And this will help you see where the tune is, and in this case make you all the keener to use appaiando to bring out the melody and tirando to create a smooth and varied accompaniment. And that was Giuliani's great little gear change back up into the relative major, A minor, up to C. And be very vigilant with your preparation of this run, all based around the dominant seventh, G7, and those final little classical cadences to round off the section. Once again, stare at the notes to try and link your ears and your eyes. There's that little rundown again and the final cadences, but this time it takes us back to the restatement of the main tune. If you enjoy playing this part of the tune, make it obvious, express your enjoyment, otherwise people just won't get it.